Hey, if we haven't met yet, my name is Robert. I'm on the youth team here. I also lead the freshman guys, and it is just a privilege to get to spend time hanging out with you guys. It is so fun week in and week out. I love what I get to do. And over the last 2 weeks, maybe this is your first time here, or just like as a quick recap, we've started off this school year kind of saying, all right, if we're going to spend all year learning about God and trying to know Him better, well, a great place to start is by taking a look in the Bible, taking a look at the scriptures, the living word of God, and who He says He is, so then we can start to understand who we are. So, the first week, we learned God said, I am who I am. From the very beginning of time, He's saying, I am the God, the creator of all, the father of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. That same God is the one that is with us today. And it's powerful because He's saying, I have not changed. This is who I am. I am who I am. And then last week, Bryce did a really cool example. I think Chase, one of my guys, he was blindfolded, and all the lights were off on stage, and he had to kind of try and walk through and see, all right, what do I have to do? How do I navigate through this obstacle course? Well, we learned that God says through Jesus, I am the light of the world. I am the light of the world. So we're going through these statements, these claims that the Bible has, and what Jesus says. He says, all right, here's what I want you to know. I want you to know who I am, and I'm going to tell you more and more so you can start to get a bigger and better understanding, and we can have a deeper relationship of where we belong. So tonight, we're going to take a look at another I am statement, all right? And this I am statement is where Jesus says, I am the good shepherd. Say, I am the good shepherd. That's right. This is what Jesus promises each and every single one of us today. And shepherd is a pretty weird word, so we're going to unpack what that means here in a little bit. But first, I want to be transparent and let you know that my goal tonight for a visual prop was to have a live sheep on stage. Got declined. Probably for good reason. It'd be wandering everywhere. I don't know if you know much about sheep. You probably don't. Raise your hand if you just have seen a sheep outside the zoo before. No one. Okay, just kidding. Has anyone seen a shepherd? Raise your hand. Do you know what that term means? Okay, exactly. We're not familiar with these terms, so we see Jesus saying, I'm the good shepherd. Well, I'm glad you're in the right place tonight because we're going to learn a little bit further what that means. But my goal is to have a sheep on here and it kind of wander around. They're not really smart animals. In fact, they're very dumb. We'll dive into that here in a bit. Fun facts for you. Spoilers. And it might have gone off the stage. So good thing I didn't have it, but it probably also smells, so that was the thing. But anyways, tonight, like I said, we're going to kind of talk about and spend time looking at how God truly is our good shepherd, how this is a beautiful promise that He gives us, and how that actually applies to each and every single one of you sitting in here today. So that no matter what, we can leave tonight and say, all right, we do have one good shepherd who is leading us in charge. One shepherd who is always with you, who wants to give you good things, who's looking out for you, who cares for you deeply, and who promises you and says, I'm going to walk alongside you and be your good shepherd. So once again, in our life today, it's hard for us to understand what He fully means by this analogy of what a shepherd is and what a sheep is. We don't see that in New Albany. We don't see it in Gehenna. We don't really see it in Westerville and the surrounding area. So I think a very helpful way to approach what we're going to look at in the passage tonight is through the example of sport. So raise your hand if you play any sport. It doesn't have to be in season now, but if you play a sport. Oh, wow. Okay, so about 90% of us. Sweet. So, especially in team sports, you have a coach. Every single team most likely has a coach. And what is the coach supposed to do? He has an amazing role to lead the entire team. And in similar ways that we're going to talk about a shepherd, the coach is the one in charge who cares for the team, who cares for you, hopefully, and they want everyone to learn the game so that they can succeed, that you can better one another, better your teammates, be a good sport. And then the coach, ultimately, they lead the way. They pave the way for you, for your team. They start to protect you from when you go against another school. You know, if you're in a track meet or something, it's not just you and you're running and you're going to win. No, there's an enemy team always. Same thing with football. Think about it like this. Ohio State, who's their enemy team? Oh, you even said it. The team up north. Thank you. Good answer. Some people in here were wearing Michigan stuff earlier this morning. We'll pray for you. Pray for them after. Pray for them after. But really, we have a coach on every single team, even the enemy team, if you will. All right? And even on your team, but the coaches that you probably have, hopefully in your life, are the ones that want good things for you. They know the environment. They've probably played the sport at some point. They understand what it takes to succeed. They tell you when to go on attack, when to run a certain route. They tell you how to play defense well, how to play as a team, not just on your own because you start to get lost if it's a team sport. And if we're honest, I think sometimes we do argue when we have a coach that we disagree with, and we're like, oh man, I should have got more playing time. Oh, you didn't give me the game-winning shot. What's up with that, coach? Do you really have my best interest in mind? And we argue with them, or maybe we argue with teammates, and we want to take control of the game. Maybe we have a different plan, and we think that we know better than actually the coach who really does know better. They're in that role for a reason. They're here to pave the way. And sometimes, a coach can be someone who does provide that comfort and peace. They're the ones for you, on the field, but also on the sideline as well, that show up and they champion you. At the end of the season, maybe you have a banquet and they'll celebrate you. And then oftentimes, they're the ones that say, hey, all right, listen, you're here, and maybe you're not getting the playing time, but I still care for you. And I'm going to bring you to a spot and say, whatever it takes, I'm going to work with you and help you get better at this. So when we're going to talk about a shepherd and a sheep in the story that we're going to look at, I want you to think of it through a lens of a good coach. Maybe for some of us who don't have a coach or haven't really played sports, maybe think of someone in your life, an adult figure, or maybe it's a parent who is someone that genuinely wants good things for you. That they actually have your best interest in mind, that they want to help you improve as a person, they want to help you out in life, they want to give you a couple dollars to go to the movie and hang out with friends, whatever it is, think of someone who wants good things for you. And I hope each and every single one of us have that person. A lot of the times, and especially for me in high school when I was going through sports, it was a coach for me. And in the story that we're going to look at, I think going through this lens, it provides us a little bit of a base, a little bit of a foundation in seeing what a true good shepherd is. Not just any shepherd, but a good shepherd. And we see that through this, we can have access to God. That because of Jesus, we have access to God and his presence. And sometimes I think we get into our minds, we come to a place and we say, all right, we can only access God at church, right? We sing worship songs about him. We have time in small groups. We learn through a message. We have all these crazy games and whatnot, and we have an encounter with God here, and we think that's all that it can exist at. That's the only place it can be, but that's not true. God has given you access to his presence any and every single where you go. He's saying, okay, at school, you have access to me. How about in your room late at night and when you're struggling, you still have access to God. You have the presence of God in your car, at school, in your house, wherever you are. We see that we have access to the God of everything, the one who says, I am the light of the world. I am the good shepherd, and I am the creator, the one from the very beginning. So tonight we're going to take a look at I am the good shepherd, and we're going to start in John 10, verses 10 through 18. So if you have your Bible apps on your phone, you can pull those up, or if you brought a Bible, feel free to pull that out as well, and then also we'll have it on the screen. So here's John 10, verses 10 through 18, and this is what Jesus is saying to the people around him. So here's what he says in the story. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. But I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. I am the good shepherd. There it is. He says, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays his life down for the sheep, and the hired hand is not the shepherd and does not own the sheep. So when he sees the wolf coming, he abandons the sheep and he runs away. But then the wolf attacks the flock and he scatters it. And the man runs away because he is a hired hand and cares nothing for the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know my sheep, and my sheep know me. And just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father, and I lay my life down for the sheep. I have other sheep that are not of the sheep pen, and I must bring them also, for they too will listen to my voice. And there shall be one flock and one shepherd. The reason my Father loves me is that I lay down my life, only to take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of my own accord. I have the authority to lay it down and the authority to take it up again. This command I received from my Father. So very early on in this passage, we start to see this example, this story in the Bible here. And it actually doesn't start off all that great, right? It mentions that there is a thief. Remember, in the lens of a coach in sporting, think of like an enemy team, someone who is against you in your team, that doesn't want good things for you. The Bible says that there is a thief coming, and that's the enemy's entire mission, to tear you down. That this is the reality we live in, that there is someone on the opposing side who doesn't like you, who wants to feed you lies, and who wants to beat you and to steal and to kill and destroy any single bit of who you are. That's kind of scary. If I'm honest, that's kind of scary. That's not a great place to start. So we get this tension of saying, all right, we have to live in this, but we have to live and prepare as if there's always a thief coming. So that when you understand when the thief is coming, you start to live a little bit differently. We have to prepare ourselves, and then we start to see, all right, this team aspect. You don't have to go through this alone. There might be an enemy that's trying to tear you down, to make you think twice about who you are, to call you out and say, nah, you shouldn't do that good thing, even though it's a good thing for you. And you have to be like, well, what are you talking about? Well, there's a thief coming, but the good news is there's also a shepherd coming. That's what we just read in this passage, a shepherd who doesn't leave you or forsake you, but who walks with you. And Jesus says it's not just any shepherd, but it's a good shepherd. Jesus declares, I am the good shepherd. So what's interesting here is he differentiates and says, all right, here's a shepherd or a hired hand. It's not, I'm not just someone, Jesus is saying that. I'm not just someone who clocks in and clocks out and who doesn't really care for the sheep and, I'll tend to them and, they're whatever, it's all good. No, he says, I'm the good shepherd and I know them. I know each and every single one of my sheep, and my sheep know me. They know that I want good things for them and that I am the one who they can follow, who they should follow. So he wants you to know that he knows each and every single one of the sheep, that he knows each and every single one of your names, your stories, who cares deeply for you. And he says, all right, here's the deal, though. There's an enemy who's trying to tear you down. The devil, the evil one, all these things that he's going to throw at your way, and he's going to try and make you have the worst day possible and doubt who you are and doubt that I really am a good shepherd. But at the end of the day, if you know that I am good, you can follow me. That you can take up your life and say, you don't have to have everything figured out, but you know that I went before you, that I am here to pave good things for you, that I have good plans for you, that ultimately I'm going to take you to where I have you to be in your destiny. So the question is tonight, and this is what I want us to kind of unpack, is what's the benefit? What is the benefit of having a good shepherd in our life? And I want to give you guys just 3 areas where Jesus provides that benefit in our life. So the first thing is the good shepherd provides direction. Say direction. Say direction. Awesome. So let's go back to the sports metaphor, right? Let's go to a coach. Who's the coach who's the one calling the shots in a football game on the sidelines? The coach. Right? The coach is saying, all right, here's the best way that we need to run this play. This will give us the best chance of succeeding, even though I questioned some of Ohio State's, play callings yesterday. We still won. It's cool. It's cool. But ultimately, there's a coach, someone who's probably played the sport before, and they're going before us and leading us, right? So this is their goal, to provide direction for everyone on the team, to provide direction for you. So bring it into the story that we just read. The shepherd leads and guides the sheep. He tells the sheep when to go. He tells the sheep when to sleep and when to eat, and the sheep will follow the shepherd. But why do the sheep need direction? Well, think about the story, right? The thief is the devil, the enemy, the evil, everything that's being thrown at you. And then we see over here, the shepherd would be Jesus. So who's the sheep? Any guesses? Us. We're the sheep, which, all right, cool, right? That's a good thing. Encouraging, right? No. Not as encouraging as you might think. I wish it was, but here's the thing. Like I said earlier, sheep might be some of the dumbest animals on the planet, okay, in case you didn't know. They have awful eyesight. They can't see, which is why we probably didn't have one. It could have walked and maybe went for you guys or something. Who knows? Anyway, so they're dumb. They have awful eyesight. They're stubborn. And after sheep end up eating all the grass, like in their little field and pasture, when they have no more left, they would eat the other sheep's poop. Yeah, gross. And that kills them. So sheep, are they smart? No, we're called sheep. How encouraging, right? But don't get caught up on that, okay? Sheep are lost without direction when they're just wandering on their own. Well, good news, the good shepherd provides direction. So just like the sheep in the story, we need a shepherd to lead us, to guide us, to direct us. We have to follow him. And just like you and I, we indulge in our flesh. We're lost. We give into sin. We would have no clue on how to thrive on life on our own without a good shepherd leading the way. And that's why Jesus steps in and says, all right, I'm going to lead the way for us. So when you know who your shepherd is, you start to understand that you have everything you need and you lack nothing because he is that good. He is walking with you. He has the best direction for you. You just have to follow and take the direction of the shepherd. As a sheep, you just have to follow and say, I know my shepherd's good. I know who he is, and I'm on board. You don't have to have everything figured out to start to begin to obey immediately. You have a shepherd who has the best interest for you in mind. So you get behind Jesus and you follow him. He is a good shepherd leading you every single step of the way. And I know this can be hard, especially when we have circumstances that aren't great. You guys will go through hard times. You've probably been through hard times. Maybe you're in that right now. And it can be really easy to say, I want to follow something else. Or I want to figure this out on my own, and I just don't want to follow him. I know he's there. I know he's good and probably wants good things for me, but I'm not going to follow him. And we start to see that can easily creep up in our life when our life isn't great, when circumstances aren't great. But my challenge for us today is to say, I want you to keep a focus of your mind on Christ and say, I'm going to follow him. I know things aren't great. My circumstances aren't ideal, but I am going to keep my mind on Jesus. I know who I am. I know who my shepherd is. And you have a good shepherd who's directing you. The second, the good shepherd provides correction. Say correction. This word isn't fun, right? People don't really like that word correction that much. But let's go back to the sports metaphor. I think this is a great analogy. Sometimes, maybe this has happened to you, but a coach will pull you aside from the rest of the team. And he isn't necessarily angry with you. Maybe it comes across in his voice as he's angry. But he pulls you aside and says, hey, yeah, buddy, come over here. Like, I know your potential. That play, or you said that thing, it's all right. I'm not super upset. But here's how we're going to maximize your potential because I want good things for you. He's trying to correct you for the better of yourself and also the team and every single person around you to help you reach your potential. And we don't like that word correction that much, but like sheep, we have a tendency to wander off. We have a tendency to want to do our own things in life like this. We have a stubbornness to us. And there's a story in Luke, a couple chapters later in the Bible, or the gospel account of Luke, and there's a story where he references the good shepherd, and he says, that shepherd leaves the 99 sheep to chase after the one who wandered away. And that is good news for us because that shepherd we're talking about who gives direction is the one providing correction, saying, I'm going after you. When you wander away, when you're lost, when you're in a dark season, in your dark moments, I'm running with you. I'm coming after you because I want you to come back close to me. I want you to come home to me. The good shepherd leaves the 99 to go after the one when they go away. So we serve a God who goes chasing after you. That is incredible. So he goes out to find you. The Bible says he gets the sheep. He brings the sheep back home. He throws a party and celebrates what is lost. What once was lost is now found. So God is much more excited, not about punishing you, but celebrating you and wants you to be found because when he finds you, he is excited that you're home. The shepherd goes out and seeks the wandering sheep. So he says, Jesus is saying, when you go running, I'm coming after you because I love you. You are my sheep. I know you. And what's interesting about a shepherd, all right, this is kind of cool. I got a little prop here. It's not the best one. I was supposed to have two, but it's hard to hold two props and a mic, so I'm not going to do that. Anyways, so the shepherd, a normal shepherd would have this staff, right? And one end of this staff would be, I guess, just a staff, if you call it, and it's meant for correction. And the other end is like a rod, which is meant for protection. But we see right here with the staff, whenever sheep would go wandering away, whenever they start to leave the pen or go off on their own, what the shepherd would do is he'd kind of bring them back in, all right, this would go around the sheep's neck. It'd be bigger, obviously. But he said, all right, come on, buddy. Let's bring you back with the pack. Come closer to me. So he uses this end of his staff to bring the sheep closer to him because that's where they're supposed to be. That was the goal of the shepherd. You see, godly correction is super important because it's not supposed to hurt you. It's actually supposed to comfort you. So we have a good shepherd who's saying, all right, when you wander away, I'm coming after you. Come on home. Come on home to me. I have the best things for you, and I love you, and I'm going to celebrate you, but I want you to reach your maximum potential and be the best version you can be and experience all these great things I have for you, all the great plans. So this godly correction isn't hurting you. I'm here to help you. I'm here to comfort you. And when you understand that the shepherd is for you, you understand that his correction is coming from the right place. It is coming from the right place. So the shepherd corrects me so we don't have to wander. And when you make him your shepherd, once again, you lack nothing. So once again, the shepherd provides direction, he provides correction, and last but not least, he finally provides protection. And this is great for us. Bring it back to sports. Let's go to the football analogy. Every good quarterback is only good if they have a good offensive line, right? All the big guys blocking when the play starts in front of him. He gets the ball, and the enemy, remember, there's a thief out there. There's an enemy team that's trying to attack the quarterback. He's trying to attack you. He's trying to ruin your life and feed you lies and all these bad, awful things. So a quarterback, there's an enemy team trying to sack him, to ruin the quarterback's plans, to make the team fall apart. But the good news is we have protection on the O-line. And what happens is when the enemy tries to blitz you and make you believe these lies, Jesus would also stand in front of you as your O-line and say, I'm in a position to guard you. I'm in a position to do this for you. And you might not always walk away perfectly without any scars or unscathed, but he's in a position to always be your defense. So in the house of God, there is protection that you know who your shepherd is. Remember, once again, there's correction with this end of the staff. And then usually in the other hand of the shepherd, there was a rod. And what this would do is this would fend off like any of the enemies. So if a wolf came, he's like, all right, I'm going to protect my sheep. All right, I'm going to step in and I'm going to protect them from the robber, from the thief in the middle of the night. Whatever it takes, I'm going to correct them and bring them in when they wander, and I'm also going to protect them. That was the goal of a shepherd back then. Not just any shepherd, but a good shepherd. And Jesus says, I am the shepherd. I know my sheep. I'm here to protect you. And ultimately, I'm going to lay my life down for them. To lay his life down for you. Because he loves you that much. No matter how often you wander, how far you think you go, does not matter to him. He's coming after you. Because he loves you. He wants to give you the direction, the best for your life, and says, hey, guess what? I've already laid the way. I've done the hard work. I'm laying my life down for you, and that's the good news that we read in the message. But even more so beyond that, you can follow me. This can start right now in your life, and you can be wandering on and off on your own, but I'm going to give you the direction. I'm going to bring you back in because I'm going to chase after you. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to bring you home. I'm going to celebrate you, and I'm going to protect you. He's everything for you because he loves you. And some of us tonight just need to know that you have a good shepherd, that you have a good shepherd, because we don't often see that in our life. Maybe you don't see that, but we have one that is always there. And when the enemy is trying to speak up in your life, you can say, nah, you see the rod? The shepherd's here to protect me. You can remind yourself that, all right, even though I'm far, he has chased after me, and he's with me every step of the way. So you guys can take comfort in knowing that the one who leads us knows us. Jesus, the one who is leading us, who has already paved the way with direction, he is leading us, but he also knows us. He knows his sheep. He calls you by your name. He knows it because he's not just any shepherd. He is the good shepherd, and he wants to lead you to the best things possible. And the question is, will you let him lead you? Will you let him lead you today? Will you surrender parts of your life over to him and saying, all right, God, I'm going with you. If you truly have what's best for me, and I know my circumstances might not always be great, I'm still going to choose to follow you because that is who you are. The one who leads us, knows us, and he knows you. And we're a part of his one big family of sheep, this church, and we are loved by him completely. So let me go ahead and pray for us real quick as we wrap it up.